posted their research titles. Risk exists at multiple levels within organizations, each affecting different aspects of operations and financial performance. Understanding these levels is crucial for effective risk management and long-term sustainability. Hmm? So you must be familiar to handle all the situations in your organizations. Already, most of the students are already joined in different types of organizations or institutions on job. Okay, so try to face the situation, every situations. Okay, always guide your seniors in any situations or uncertainty. You should have to take initiative in your organizations. This practical evidence will be helpful for your future career. Okay, how to assess the risk? Hmm? Once risk have been identified, an assessment of possible impact and corresponding likelihood of occurrence will be made using consistent parameters that will enable the development of a prioritized risk map. In the planning stage, management should agree on the most appropriate definition and number of categories to be used when assessing both likelihood and impact. Likelihood means possibilities, and impact means the power of risk. Impact, the assessment of the potential impact of a particular risk may be complicated by the fact that a range of possible outcomes may exist, or that the risk may occur a number of times in a given period of time. Such complications should be anticipated, and a consistent approach adopted, which, for example, may seek to estimate a worst case scenario over, say, a 12-month time period. The assessment of the impact of the risk on the organization should take into account the financial impact, the impact on the organization's viability and objectives, and the impact on potential and community sensitivity. The analysis may be either qualitative or quantitative, but should be considered to permit comparisons. An example of the quantitative approach is high level, moderate, and low level. Okay, means there are three levels of risk. The level of risk refers to the degree of exposure an organization faces from uncertain events. It is determined by the likelihood of occurrences of a risk and the severity of its impact. There is a risk level formula. We shall provide you all the PPTs and the notes after completion of these all the sessions. Okay, the formula of risk is risk level equal to probability of occurrence multiplied by impact of the risk. This is the formula to count the risk level. Classification of risk levels: 1, low level risk, low level probability and low impact, minimal effect on operations, on finance, can be accepted or monitored. For example, minor operational delays means to produce products in slow way. Small fluctuations in input cost, these are impact on the organization on the basis of low level risk. Okay. Another is medium level risk, moderate probability or moderate impact, requires control measures. For example, temporary liquidity shortage. Okay. And another is supplier disruptions. These two things are there. And another is high level risk, high probability and high impact, can threaten survival of the organization, requires immediate mitigation. For example, credit default by major borrower. At the time of morning session, I have already cleared you about the borrowers or defaulters, due to whom a bank can be accept the losses. Cyber security breach means cyber security breach means there is a act. The act is designed by the Information Ministry of India. They have formed this act in 2005. That is Information Act 2005. And there were amendments in this act, Information Acts, which that amendments was on 2008 by the government. Information Technology Act, IT Acts. Regularity, non-compliance means non-compliance. Regularity means banks or the financial institutions not provided the details required by the RBI or by the governments in time. Risk level is generally determined by the interactions of two variables. Probability means likelihood and severity, impact. The risk matrix heat map, I have already shown you the heat map means a risk matrix heat map, a graph in our first sessions. I can show you that right now also. Just a moment. I am sharing that heat map. Can you see this?
No, sir.
Just check. In the first session that I have shown you this heat map, which is indicated by 5 colors: green color, light green color, yellow color, orange color, and red color. Red color means danger zone, and green color means desirable safety zone. We already know about the signals on the roads. We also follow the signals. Green means you can pass, and red means stop. Okay. Organization use a risk matrix to categorize risk into actionable levels. First, low level, acceptable, risk with a low probability and minor consequences. For example, routine often supply delays. These are often accepted without formal mitigation. Okay, means in our back office of organizations or institutions, stationery required, which is supplied in delay, means we can try to give delivery after few times, means we can take a pause to supply the stationery, means why? Because of rate list risk. The rate of stationery can be increased or can be decreased. Another is medium risk manageable, risks that require monitoring and specific internal controls. For example, new competitor entering a local market. You have seen that before 20 years or in the 20th century, you can purchase your groceries from your kirana shops, nearest kirana shops. But now there are different types of super shops, hypermarkets available, malls available. You have the choice whether to purchase from your local kirana shop or grocery shop, or to purchase from super shop or hypermarket. Okay, means these super shops and hypermarkets are rivals of that small or local grocery shops. This is a simple example. High risk means critical risk, risk with a high likelihood of occurrence and severe impact. For example, a major data breach or regulatory shifts. I already explained you about how to stole ideas of company and sell that ideas to another company. I have given you the example of corporate movie. If you have seen that movie, best example is there about disgruntled employees, means non-satisfied employees who sell the idea of our company to another company, rival company, to get perks. Key categories of risk to analyze impact for MBA students must first identify the risk universe. Risks are broadly classified as in three categories: category, description, and example. Strategic risk. Their description is a risk that affects the organization's long-term goals and viability. For example, poor M&A decisions, failing to accept to technological shifts. Another is operational. Their description is risk arising from internal process, means the production systems where operations can be done, means to convert raw material into finished goods process. Example is of supply chain disruptions, equipments. Risk, failure, people or systems. Example is failure, human errors, means error by done by any employee, whether it is related to operation level, office level, account level, or warehouse level. All the departments are associated with each other, means the risk or occurrence is happened with any department will be impact automatically on another department. Financial risk involving market volatility, credit and liquidity. For example, currency fluctuations, interest rate hikes, customer default. Another is compliance risk related to legal and regulatory requirements. For example, violation of GDPR, health and safety fines, tax law changes. GDPR means General Data Protection Regulation. This is a regulation act formulated by government for to protect general data of public, which is published on internet or which is not published, kept as a secured. Reputational risk, damage to the brand image and public perceptions. Okay, example is product recalls, unethical leaderships, negative social media viral events. Today we know, we have also seen a video about Ola bike, that a person is breaking Ola bike. Why? Because after 1 year, when he has to purchase battery of that Ola bike, what's happened? He found that the cost of that Ola bike battery is near about 70 to 80,000. And so for that, he broken that bike and makes a reel, okay, and published in social media, and it is viral because people also seen that viral video and aware that the battery cost of Ola is costly, means the cost of overall bike is near about 1 lakh, and only the one component or one part of that bike is of 70,000. It is too much. Okay, so many people stopped their decision to purchase that Ola bike. Determinants of risk levels. The level of risk depends on nature of business, banking, manufacturing, IT, and insurance, size of organization, market volatility, regulatory environment, financial leverage, risk appetite of management. An example of quantitative approach about high, moderate, and low risk. The following scale is to be used as a guide only. Note that both the scales and definitions are the same for hazards and opportunities. Different types of risk and their impact. High impact. Financial impact on the organization is likely to exceed, say, $Z million, or significant impact on the organization's viability or its strategic or operational objectives, or significant political and or community sensitivity. Moderate risk means financial impact on the organizational is likely to be between $Y million and $Z million, or moderate impact on the organization's viability or its strategic or operational objectives, moderate political and or community sensitivity. Low risk impact means financial impact on the organization is likely to be between $X million and $Y million, or minimal impact on the organization's viability or its strategic operational objective, or minimal point political and or community sensitivity. What is likelihood of occurrences? Let's see. The likelihood of a risk occurring may be assessed on a gross or a net or a target basis. The gross basis assess the inherent likelihood of the event occurring in the absence of any processes which the organizations may have in place to reduce that likelihood. The net basis assesses the likelihood taking into account current conditions and processes to mitigate the chance of the event occurring. The target likelihood of a risk occurring reflects the risk appetite of the organizations, where the net likelihood and the target likelihood for a particular risk differ. This would indicate the need to alter the risk profile accordingly. It is common practice to assess likelihood in terms of high means probable, moderate means possible, or low means remote. The following scales are to be used as a guide only. Note that although the scales are the same for both hazards and opportunities, the definitions are different. Likelihood of occurrences, hazards, assessment, description, and indicators. For high risk, probable, likely to occur in, say, a 1 year time period, or more than 25% chance of occurrence. Indicators, potential of it occurring several times within the next 10 years, has occurred within the last 2 years. Typical of operations of this type due to external influences. Moderate level means about hazards. Description is that possible, likely to occur in a 10-year time period, or less than 25% chance of occurrence, but greater than 2%. It's indicators that could occur more than once within the next 10 years, can be difficult to control due to some external influences. History of occurrences in the organization. Low level hazards. Likelihood of occurrences. Description is that remote, not likely to occur in a 10-year time period, or less than 2% chance of occurrence. It indicates that has not occurred in the country, would be surprising if it occurred. Now we will see the likelihood of occurrences of opportunities. First, high level opportunities. Probable. Favorable outcome is likely to be achieved in a 1 year time frame, or better than 75% chance of occurrence. Indicators, clear opportunity which can be relied on with reasonable certainty to be achieved in the short term based on current management processes. Moderate opportunity level possible. Reasonable prospects of favorable outcome in a 1 year time frame or 25 to 75% chance of occurrence indicates that opportunity which may be achievable but which requires careful management might be categorized as a stretch goal in a business plan. Low opportunity level, its description is remote, some chance of favorable outcome in the medium term or less than 25% chance of occurrence, which indicates possible opportunity which has yet to be fully investigated by management. Opportunity for which the likelihood of success is low on the basis of management resources currently being applied. In this way, we have seen opportunities, likelihood of occurrences, hazards, the risk map of matrix, the key risk profile measures, the risk map or a risk matrix are widely viewed as a simple yet powerful way of displaying the relationship between likelihood and impact for the key identification risk, thus providing both measurement and reporting of the risk profile. When difference matrix or maps are prepared for both hazard and opportunity risk, an organization is moving towards measuring and displaying the separate components of the business risk continuum. In other words, the business risk continuum is a quantitative aggregations of the series of risk metrics covering hazard, uncertainty, and opportunity. Typical risk matrix can be displayed as below. Okay, in three levels: high, medium, and low. First, we can observe about hazards. High level hazards: property developments, approvals, production quality problems, serious accident at any locations, schedule delays caused by subcontractors or system integration difficulties. Year 2000 bug. What was the bug of year 2000? This is a major bug of year 2000, that in computer before 2000 the date system is followed by DDMMYY format, means only of 8 digit including slash or dash, but it required of 10 digit plus special symbols, means slash or dash between the dates, DDMMYY. And the problem arises that in 2000 there was 00 at the last side of the 2000, means current year is 2026. We can write a date as 2020 dash 01, means of January month dash 26. Okay, in year we have used only last two digit of year, but what happened in 2000 when we used the 00? the computer get confused that 00 where of 1000, 2000, 3000, or which year, because he this the computer is made by the man, and it is operated by the commands only. Predefined commands means the command which is already set in the program or in the application of the computer. Okay, I think you might have your birth after 2000. Okay, so you are not aware, you may be not aware about that year 2000 birth. So keep in your mind, if you asked in any competitive exams about year 2000 bug, what was that bug? Means last two digit bug. And always fill the date format anywhere. If DD is given means two digit of date. If given means two digit of month. If triple M is given means you should have to give letters of that month, first three letters of that month. MMM means JAN for January month, FEB for February month, in this way. And year, in year, if mentioned YYYY means four digit of year. If you have learned about ICT courses or MSc courses, that you may learn about the date format, because when you will use this date format at the time of computation in Excel sheet, you will be defer your data, because what's happened, American format is different, British formula is different about date. Means they use first month MM, then DD means two digit of day, and after that they use year. Okay, in few countries reverse formula is used about date. Means if we write 20 dash 01 dash 2026, they write this date format in vice versa. First year of that digit of that year means 2026 dash 01 dash 20. Okay, you can check the formats in your Google also, date formats. But a best format if you want to use in your company or your organization in Excel sheet is DD dash MMM dash YY or YYYY, four digit. When you will set this formula to a single cell in Excel, you must have to copy that formula in another cells also. Okay, otherwise what will happen, different types of date will be there in different cells. Now minimum level, construction cost overrun, cost of certification at any site, corporate governance or succession planning, shortcomings, workload future, commissioning delays, workload shortfall in second half of year, poor employee morale, management overload, new tax regimes. Means we already discussed about GST. Before GST, there was a VAT system, value added tax system. uh, and good GST means goods and services tax. You may know the full form of all these abbreviations. Okay, low level hazardous risk, information system and communication facilities at any site, profit shortfall, schedule cost difficulties, loss of intellectual property. Means there is a IPR Act, intellectual property rights. Means you can register your ideas, your plans to the government. Means the part of that idea or plans is, is used by anyone must have to pay royalty or he will get infringement by the police. Okay, to break the copyright act. Hmm? Patents also there. If anyone want to take patent of their ideas or innovations, these are also come under intellectual property rights. Likelihood, low remote, medium possible, and high probable. Companies may wish to display risk maps in a variety of alternative ways. For example, risk might be aggregated by critical success factors or overall organizational objectives. These are practical matters for commercial management judgment. Now we will see about risk of opportunity in this manner. High level joint venture opportunities, innovative project funding, medium level, and unavailability of capital result in lost opportunity. A medium risk level, that is R&D in partnership with customers. Uh, Best example is given about customers that few times what's happen, few customer also suggest new idea about changes in our existing product. Company always welcome the ideas of customers also. You can also give the feedback to the companies. If you used any different product and you like most, you can send email to that company will definitely give you response or reply. Okay, so try to give different responses to the company of different product, that may be commodity products, okay, or apparels. Few times what's happen, company also send you free gifts from their side if you have suggested the best ideas to the company. Even Microsoft of Bill Gates also accept the ideas from the customers. If they like your idea, they will also pay you huge amount, that may be in millions. Medium level opportunities, opportunity to develop sustainable Asian market business, reduce cost of major suppliers, differentiate from competitors, partner with suppliers. Low level opportunity, that further reduce the direct cost, a greater understanding of product and consumer contribution, achieve a greater leverage from customer relationship, success of a business initiatives, greater use, sharing of partnering, technology developments internally, environmental emissions and trading. The Financial and Business Research Group of the Conference Board of Canada reported that Microsoft Corporation started with a series of risk maps that plotted Microsoft natural, operational, legal, financial and human resource risk on graph as follows. Now you cannot see that maps, but I will describe it in my own words. Having measured the organization's risk profile, the final link in the process, which closes the loop back to value, lies in the management response to the risk profile. Risk response or architecture is an integral part of an organization's business processes. You can check that Microsoft Corporation risk map on Google also. huh? That how they have given the risk chart related to which points I already shared with you, that natural, operational, legal, financial, and human resource risk. These 5 points they have given in that risk map. Natural risk, that is earthquakes, volcanic eruptions. Another is fire, contingent bus interest, business interest, adverse weather, financial risk, that are exchanges rates, insolvency, interest rate, strategic investment, non-payments in a convertibility, governance control, portfolio default, environmental risk, that is benefits, normal workers competitions, catastrophic workers competitions, fiduciary, employees liability, operation risk, product tampering, political trade risk, key executive, product piracy, kidnap and ransom, information security, employee dishonesty, inventory obsolescence, and theft. Product tampering, that we already faces so many problems while delivering any uh, parcel by the courier. The courier boy can tamper the parcel. Okay, you may have seen few videos of Swiggy, Zomato, that how the guys eat that parcels items before to deliver. Okay, or sometimes you order a mobile, but what happen, you not received that mobile when you open that parcel delivered by the courier boy. Okay, this rampering of product packagings are big problem by the companies. But what's happened later on, company given full risk to that delivery company, that you will be responsible, just like insurance, that if the product is not delivered to the party, you may be responsible. Okay, so delivery company has appointed only honest people to deliver the products without hampering by their delivery boy. Few times what's happened, few people sent checks in the envelope to their company, but what's happened, that check not reached or delivered to that company, or if the check is delivered by the company to any employee, which is not reached to that employee, because why, The courier boy can check the envelope inside the tube, that what is in this envelope. If he found that there is a check, he can stole that check and will deposit in the bank with his own name. Okay, so he will also tamper that check also. If it is already given in cross systems, means account pay check is already there, he can tamper with the check. He will make it as a bearer check, and withdrawal will take in the bank. So there is a idea given by me to few companies employee, that when you send a check to your company or anywhere, use a A4 size paper, blank paper, and hold that check into that blank paper or written paper, waste paper. And after that, put that check with that blank paper covered by the blank paper in the envelope. Means check will not be displayed from the outside in the light of the tube. Okay, so this is a practical experience faced by so many employees and companies. Another is liability litigation risk. Business practices, antitrust, copyright, patent infringement, which already I have discussed with you, product liability, contractual risk, errors and omissions, employment practices, general liability, auto liability, vendors and contractors, miscellaneous liability, public network, and others. So here you can see that five critical risk levels are there: strategic, operational, financial, compliance, and reputational. Strategic means long-term objectives and directions. Failure to achieve organizational objectives, poor decision making, loss of competitive advantages. For example, wrong market entry decision, and failure to adapt to technological changes. If computer is available of i5, i7, i9, and 12th generation, if you are using second generation, third generation, P4 system, core to duo system, what will happen? Your employee will not do the work dynamically, or fast work cannot be possible in the organizations. Okay, so technological changes must be accepted by the company. Mission and deviations risk can force a company to abandon its core strategy or pivot unexpectedly, leading to wasted sources. All this covered under strategic risk. Another is operational risk. Disruptions of a business processes, reduced productivity, supply chain breakdown. For example, equipment failures and IT system outages. This is the same system. Means equipment failures means the equipment that you are using in operational systems are poor, outdated. So you should have to change it, And IT system also you have to change. Now all the data is stored on cloud basis, and if you are storing data on offline basis, you are really poor in this technical era. Business interruptions, natural disasters, or cyber attacks can halt production, leading to missed deadlines and contractual penalties. Employee moral, persistence operational risk like unsafe conditions lead to high turnover and low productivity. These are these are the example of operational impact. Another is financial, cash flows and capital structure, loss of revenue or profits, increased cost, asset value erosion, cash flow instability. Example, interest rate risk affecting loan income. At morning session, I already discussed about loan income. Hmm? If rates are given fixed or floating. Another is compliances, law and regulations, legal sanctions beyond fines. Severe compliances failures can lead to the loss of operating licenses or even a criminal charges against the board of directors. Before to start any organizations, there are different types of compliances that you must have to complete to start your production system or operation system. That is permissions from fire brigade, permissions from MIDC board, permissions from the local governance, means the municipal corporations, or whether it is a gram panchayat. Okay, and permission related to your products. If you are using chemicals, means chemical factory always required certification of government, because few chemicals were highly inflammables. Okay, and environment certificates also required at the time of formation of company. You must require another and main certificates, that is from MPCB board, Maharashtra Pollution Control Board, to control the pollutions that your organization will produce, how many types of pollutions, and the what is the level of that pollutions. Okay, so you should have to take permissions from pollution board also. Reputationals means loss of consumer trust, damage to brand image, reduced market confidence. For example, data breaches, regulatory violations, product failures, means the quality of product. You are unable to maintain the stable quality of your product. Strategic level risk, key sources, market competitions and disruptions, economic and political changes, technological innovations, regularity, environmental shifts. Critical examples, wrong investment strategy, expansions into unstable markets, failure to adopt new technology. Financial impact, decline in firm value, loss of market shares, and long term profitability, risk return organizational survivals. operational and financial risk already discussed. Compliance and reputational risk we have already discussed. Five dimension of risk impact, that is that are financial, operational, strategic, legal, and reputational. Impact of finance performance, different types of area, profitability, liquidity, solvency, market value, and cost of capital. And their impact is given here. The critical importance of risk management: stabilize cash flows, protect wealth, ensure compliance, drive sustainability. The session is over for today. Thank you.